Tell us a little bit about where you're born and raised.
Man, I grew up and was born actually in Fort Smith, Arkansas, but grew up in Vian, Oklahoma.
Okay.
It's our crown jewel there is Lake Tenkiller, and so I kind of grew up there and come from a farm family, that type of background, love the outdoors, and got a hold of football my 7th grade year, and just been a roller coaster after that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, what's it like in Vian, Oklahoma growing up?
It was great, and I didn't know what I didn't know, you know what I mean, and you kind of didn't really understand the outside world. Just kind of knew that our community was geared around togetherness and helping their neighbor out and always working hard. But man, I loved my time there. It was obviously after I got out of there and left Oklahoma. Didn't know what was on the other side of the fence for me, but it was a great time, but somehow you always find your way back home, and that's where I am now.
Yeah, no doubt. And that's, I mean, for me, right, I mean, I sound different. I'm from Wales, originally in the UK, but I mean, I love it here. And this is now my home, which my mum hates me saying that, she's like, home is always in Wales. It is, but I've been here 10 years now. I love the state, the people. It's just a special place, and I'm sure it was the same feeling for you when you're like, I gotta go home. But tell me about, so when you pick up a football, you realize that, wow, this is lights my fire. This is my new passion. And then you realize that you get good at it. You're playing high school football, and then where do you go from there? And then how kind of do you get picked up to go to OSU?
Well, I really love baseball.
Okay.
I kind of liked football. I mean, I love baseball. I poured everything into that sport, and just football kind of was the thing you do as an athlete in our town. Everyone plays football at Vian, and it's the thing you do. And I've had 4 generations of Wrights playing in that town, and so it's just kind of like, okay, it's your time. It's your time to shine, but football really didn't probably grab me until I was a sophomore in college. I mean, I loved the game, but I liked the game, but I really didn't love it, but I hated to lose. So I'm going to try to do my best to be good at it. And just the camaraderie in the locker room, the friends that I grew up with, the friends off the field with the friends in the locker room. I mean, I loved all those things about the game of football. And then in college, I had a guy that, actually 2 coaches, Coach Johnny Barr, who's retired now, Coach Rob Ryan, who's coach for the Baltimore Ravens now as a linebacker coach. Those dudes made me really fall in love with the game. And it transformed my mindset to know that, man, I could probably, make a career out of this, And so I basically kind of dedicated myself to that, and it ended up well for me.
Yeah. How do you get, like, when you're raised in Vian, are you raised like as an OSU fan or an OU fan? Like, what was football like?
There's
why
lot of OU fans, and whenever you're, I'm like in my town, we call it the bottoms. I mean, we have 2, 6, and 8. You got 3 channels, you know what I mean? And so OU's always on one of those channels. So you kind of grow up an OSU fan because they're really, really doing well in football. They have done for a long time. So I grew up an OU fan, and I actually was going to go to OU first, but there's a guy here today that's playing. That's my family member who was at Oklahoma State. He's one of the highest recruited guys in our state. He switched. He went different. He went to Oklahoma State, and so it was like, let's come build something different, And at the challenge of that time was to just really be different. And so that's kind of how I in a nutshell, went to Oklahoma State.
And then you show up in Stillwater.
Show up in Stillwater. I'm a freshman, about 15 on a depth chart. I'm mad because I've started my whole life since T-ball at 3 years old. I've been a starter, never rode the bench or anything. And so you get there and I'm 15 and not really there's no light at the end of the tunnel for me. It's just like, I'm going to sit behind these guys. And, I tell the story all the time to my kids that I coach. Is like, man, I felt like pushing guys down the stairs and hoping that they get injured so I can get in the game, and it's just training camp. But by week 2, I was named the starter as a true freshman at Oklahoma State. And that was tough in itself because you got other guys who've been there, they know the ropes, and I'm this young little guy from small town Oklahoma that these coaches are believing in, and I'm glad they believed in me because that changed my mentality.
Right, no doubt. Yeah, I mean, and growing up too, right? Like I said, you've been the starter the whole time, and then you get to OSU and you're like, oh, I'm not the only one,
Yeah.
right? Like there's guys
Yeah.
around me that are better that I've got to fight for
Yeah.
and improve. And then, like I said, you get that chance and you start and it takes off from there, right?
Oh, it definitely does. And it truly made me understand the value of hard work. And I mean, I didn't really feel like I was given anything in high school. I mean, you work for everything you get, no matter what. Just at that level, you're maybe just better than the guy around you, you know? And in college, everybody's good. And it's just, where's your advantage? And I found that my advantage was in studying film and recognizing what the opponents do and all those things that some guys take for granted, you know, and still to this day as a volunteer coach at my high school in Vian, that's still my advantage, you know, and that advantage will never go anywhere, but it takes work and it takes time and it takes a skill to understand the game at that level.